Inside the majestic grand hall, a throne looms high above, exuding absolute authority. Beneath it, a colossal magic circle pulses with a cold, ominous gloom. A solemn voice reverberates through the vast space, accompanied only by the ear-piercing screech of heavy chains dragging against the stone floor. Two heavily armored guards march forward, escorting a prisoner bound tight in layers of iron shackles. The sinner is none other than the Empire's 17th princess, the destroyer Arai. Her body is ravaged by wounds, her dress stained with filth, bound helplessly by crude, rusting chains. Arai slowly lifts her head, her eyes void of light and filled with an exhaustion that seeps into her very soul. Her crimes are proclaimed to the heavens, colluding with foreign powers, joining the rebel army, and plotting treason to overthrow the imperial throne and trample the law. High upon the throne, Emperor Creta II gazes down with eyes as cold as ice. Kneeling alone in the center of the humming magic circle, Arai looks heartbreakingly small and isolated, with no savior in sight. The high priest's voice booms like a gavel, declaring that this sinner shall be executed immediately. Arai's head droops heavily as a single thought comforts her at long last. Freedom is near. She closes her eyes, a faint, weak smile gracing her lips. It is a smile of true liberation. Believing she has protected everyone's soul, she finds peace in knowing this miserable existence is finally coming to an end. Emperor Creta props his chin on one hand, his eyes dancing with cruel amusement. You seem desperate for death. Arai, do you truly believe sacrificing your filthy life to protect that rebel scum was worth it? Arai remains silent, the iron digging into her flesh. Creta sneers. I forgot. You cannot speak anymore. Can you? He leans forward, staring at her with utter contempt. But judging by that pathetic expression, I assume I hit the mark. Feigning regret, Creta suddenly rises from his throne, spreading his arms wide in a theatrical display of triumph. How tragic. That rebel leader and the treacherous dukes supporting him, the very ones you defied imperial orders to save. Creta's voice drops to absolute zero. It seems they never considered you a comrade to begin with. Arai's body trembles violently. Her pupils contract in shock as she stares up at the Emperor, desperate to deny his words. At this very moment, while you face your execution, they are enjoying a life of luxury and comfort. Even your precious leader, Drake, is about to be knighted by the Empire. Creta leans in, his whisper hissing like a venomous snake. He will be crowned a Grand Duke, and the only condition he accepted for their surrender was your head on a platter. Arai's eyes widen to their limits in sheer horror. No, that cannot be true. Her life flashes before her a nightmare of torment. Her mother was merely a commoner mistress to the Emperor. Because Arai wasn't born a boy and possessed no innate talent, she was discarded as useless trash. Drag that thing out of my sight. The shouts from her memories echo. Even her own father, the Emperor, looked at her with nothing but disgust. Her mother despised her for ruining her future. Drink it all. Arai's mind spirals into chaos. Her life began in betrayal, and now, it seems, it will end in betrayal. She remembers her mother forcing poison down her throat, burning away her voice forever. You are not my child, you are a demon. She was beaten and broken, tormented by the very people who shared her blood. Be a good girl and lick these shoes clean, then maybe I'll feed you. They would yank her hair back, forcing her face into the dirt. Lick it, you missed a spot. The only warmth she ever knew came from the fourth princess, Munda. She would gently whisper, Fleur. If father won't give you a name, I will call you Fleur. But even Munda was sold off in a political marriage and died miserably on the journey. In the depths of that despair, a terrifying, dormant power awakened within Arai. That power caught the eye of her cruel father. He bound her soul with an inescapable blood curse. I christen you the Destroyer, Arai. He sliced his palm, letting the fresh blood drip down. Live eternally for the Empire. Offer every drop of blood to atone for your existence. Branded with the mark of a slave, she was thrown onto the battlefield as a living weapon. She slaughtered enemies endlessly, trapped in an infinite loop of violence, dancing on the razor's edge of life and death. She thought she was destined to rot in solitude, until she met them, the ones she dared to call comrades. Drake, CB, Fox. They were the light piercing her darkness, silently protecting and caring for her. They were as warm as the morning sun, giving her hope, but in the end, even that light was a lie. She had trusted them with her life. They called her precious. They promised to stay until the end. Was it all just a twisted game? Tears streamed down Arai's face. This is her fate, an existence of solitude and agony. If she is to die in such resentment, she prays it ends now. Creta II laughs coldly. Are you ready? As I said, there is no one in this world who stands with you. Everyone prays for your death. It is your destiny. He snatches a sword from a guard, the blade gleaming with a thirst for blood. You may have steeled your resolve to die, but I have no intention of granting you a peaceful end. He continued, his voice dripping with malice. This exquisite power I fought so hard to obtain. It would be such a pity to simply discard it. Therefore, I have woven a new nightmare into your bloodline curse. Creta II seized Arai by the hair, forcing her to look into his eyes. A curse so vile, it will make you fear death itself from this day forth. You will be reborn, and the cursed blood of the Arpad royal family shall flow through your veins for eternity. His lips curled into a twisted, demonic grin. My beloved daughter, in the next life, and the one after that, forever, you will never escape me. Creta II swung his blade, crimson seal blood sprayed into the air. Hurry up now. Go and be reborn. The tyrant's voice echoed like a haunting bell within the darkness that swallowed her whole. The moment you take your first breath, I will either strangle the life out of you or break you until you become my perfect, obedient pet. Obedient. And when you are strong enough to wield a blade, I will let you slaughter the very traitors who abandoned you. His face contorted in sick, manic ecstasy. I can hardly wait for that glorious day, /gnome. I did nothing wrong. Why is this world so obsessed with destroying me? Why does everyone despise me? Why only betrayal? It was as if my very existence was invisible to them. A life without freedom, a fate without escape. She truly believed that death would be the final curtain. But now, not even the grave can silence this agony. Dear God, I beg of you, save me just this once. I do not want to be reborn. But then, the piercing cry of an infant shattered the void. A woman's high-pitched scream rang out. It is done. Bring the hot water, now. Two newborns lay side by side, swaddled in cloth. A maid cried out in joy. The Grand Duchess has delivered healthy twins. What? No. I knew it. It actually happened. I have been reborn. Pain exploded through her senses. It hurts. It hurts so much. It felt like hellfire was devouring Arai's tiny body. The sensation of searing heat tore through every inch of her flesh. Her throat felt slashed open, and even her soul twisted in absolute agony. Oh God. In the end, you refuse to save me. Must I suffer this hell and still be reborn? A cold voice cut through the haze. The young master stays here. The young miss will be taken away. Yes, understood. A maid scooped up Arai, now a helpless infant, and turned her back on the warmth. She was being carried through a looming grand door. Are they taking me straight to the Imperial Palace? Of course. No one dares defy the Emperor's command, and certainly, no one wants a child carrying the blood curse. No one. The maid hurried down the stairs, her steps cold and urgent. God! Why? Why couldn't you just let me fade into nothingness? I cannot face that monster again. I cannot live this cursed nightmare again. Suddenly, the maid entered a strange building. A bone-chilling cold washed over them. It's freezing. The carriage stopped. Are we there? Wait, this isn't the Imperial Palace. Did God finally answer my prayer? The maid dumped her onto a barren, cold bed and turned to leave without a glance. Click. The door locked tight. They left. I wasn't sent to the Emperor. At long last. Am I truly free? That was her desperate hope. But the very act of rebirth was the first mistake. If she had just perished then, how peaceful it would have been. Arai opened her eyes. Again, a maid entered the room. What is she holding? What is... A thick, dark green sludge dripped from the spoon. It was scalding hot. The smell was foul. And on the maid's face, a smile straight from hell. Is she trying to poison me? I have only just taken my first breath, and already you want to pour death down my throat? A cloaked shadow loomed behind the maid. The face was hidden in darkness, but a sadistic grin was visible in the gloom. She caught the scent of imperial perfume. I see now. She plans to burn my vocal cords with poison before offering me to the Emperor. No stop. Bang. The door flew off its hinges. A group stormed in, led by a furious woman screaming commands. Stay your hand. What do you think you are doing? Arai's tiny eyes widened. A stranger. Yet why does she remind her of Sister Munda / the maid froze, trembling in terror? Head maid. The young miss was shivering endlessly. I thought she was starving. The head maid snatched the bowl away. She dipped a finger into the sludge and tasted it. / this is forest herb soup, a substitute for infants who cannot nurse. Her gaze sharpened like a dagger. But this has been boiled to death. The flavor's rancid, and it is scalding hot. You would burn the skin right off her throat. I apologize for the misunderstanding. Her voice dropped, deadly serious. Did I not explicitly tell you no spices for the newborn? The spices of the Empire are too potent, and infant senses are incredibly delicate. The maid shook like a leaf. Yes, I am terribly sorry. The head maid scanned the dreary room. It is freezing and pitch black in here. The child will catch her death of cold. You are always this incompetent. She shoved the bowl back at the maid. Brew it again. Cool it to the proper temperature before you dare return. / yes. / she turned to the others. You lot clean this filth immediately. Yes, ma'am. / the head maid gazed down at the crib. I apologize, little one. I must have frightened you. / her hand gently caressed Arai's cheek. Oh dear, your cheek is completely flushed. She dabs the skin gently with a soft handkerchief. It doesn't look too serious, thankfully, and I will apply some soothing balm in a moment. You were whisked away here the instant you were born, before you could even be bathed. You must be terrified, little one. The head maid lifts her with infinite gentleness. Since the young miss and young master arrived earlier than expected, the Grand Duke and Duchess are in a complete frenzy. Her voice drops to a comforting whisper. The main residence is in absolute turmoil right now. For your safety, you must stay here for the time being. My name is Molly. I am the head maid of the Simon Stus Grand Duchy, and now I am your personal attendant. A warm, motherly smile lights up her face. I have waited so long to serve you. The Grand Duke himself commanded that I alone care for you, forbidding anyone else from interfering. He even ordered me to report every single detail. She chuckles softly. Of course, you likely cannot understand a word I am saying yet. Elle stares intensely at Molly. She bears a striking resemblance to Munda, yet she is not her. For a split second, Elle's heart stops, thinking her gentle sister has returned from the dead. Molly's expression shifts as she catches the sharp intelligence in the infant's gaze. Oh, do you actually comprehend my words? Elle freezes. Damn it. Did she figure it out already, suddenly? Molly's face breaks into a radiant beam. You really do understand wonderful. Then I shall drop the formalities. Her smile shines as bright as the morning sun. Wait, what does she mean by that? Molly leans down, planting a tender kiss on her forehead. That was a message from your mother, the Grand Duchess. A lowly servant like me would never dare be so bold. But what is the meaning of this? Molly's voice softens, dripping with affection. Your mother says you were born amidst great difficulty and fear, but the storm has passed. From this day forward, you will never have to endure anything alone again. Your name is Simon Stus. Molly pulls her into a tight, protective embrace. It is a name of great beauty in these wild lands. We sincerely pray for your bright future. You are loved by us, and you will be cherished by this Grand Duchy for all eternity. So please, grow up with peace in your heart. Elle lets out a soft coo, safety, a feeling I have never once possessed. To her, love was always a synonym for deceit. She questioned every ounce of warmth, finding comfort only in loneliness and betrayal. Leaning against Molly's chest feels like sinking into a warm bath. Is it possible? Can I truly believe in this warmth? The ghostly image of Munda flickers in her mind. Do not fear our love any longer. Elle blinks. Who are you? You are reborn, carrying our prayers. Who are these people? This time, you will be happy, whose voice is echoing in my head. It feels achingly nostalgic. Can a wretched soul like me truly find happiness just like that? 2 years drift by. Though her memories are hazy, she eats well and sleeps often. She learns to sit, then to walk. It is a life of blissful normalcy. Yet, she has never once laid eyes on her parents. Their love reaches her only through the whispers of others. Location: Maston Continent, the Grand Duchy of Simon Stus. In the manor's garden, under the golden sun, Elle sits alone on a long bench, clutching a heavy tome against her chest. She is forbidden from entering other wings of the estate. It feels like confinement, a cage she has known for 3 long years. Simon Stus. Elle gazes up at the sky as white doves glide over the glass greenhouse. This Grand Duchy is the very place that negotiated peace with the Alliance. The condition her execution in her previous life. Have the gods truly cursed me? If not, why would I be reborn in the heart of my sworn enemy's territory? She was not reborn into the imperial family, but in a remote land, isolated far from the empire's reach. A Grand Duchy surrounded by deep jungle. As the twin sister of the air, she can only steal glances at her parents through the crack of a door. They say her father, Everson Simon Stus, is a great and gentle forest mage, yet, in the fleeting glimpses of her memory, his expression is ice cold. Her mother, Jay, Simon Stus, is rumored to be the continent's strongest magic swordswoman. But to Elle, she is merely a sickly shadow, radiating no warmth or affection. Every year on her birthday, extravagant gifts arrive without fail. Molly insists it is proof of their love. Amidst a mountain of presents, Elle clings only to a single teddy bear. She looks at Molly's smiling face, but trust does not come easily. The Simon Stus family is the Empire's ancient enemy. Why am I here, of all places? Have I not escaped the blood curse? The whispers of the maids drift through the air. That child is strange. She looks positively terrifying. They say she is mute due to illness. That is why they keep her locked away in the annex. And you know the rumor, they say she is the Duke's illegitimate bastard. Elle bows her head in silence. They are spouting nonsense again. She does not understand why her voice fails her in this new life, or why she remains a prisoner in this gilded cage. Baseless rumors breed like weeds. Yet, compared to her past life, a murderer, a useless princess, a monster executed by the blade, this is paradise. I just need to pretend I cannot hear them. Silence. Molly glares at the two maids, fury blazing in her eyes. How dare you show such disrespect to the young miss? Her voice drops to a bone-chilling temperature. Lowly servants gossiping about their master. Molly draws herself up to her full height, her voice booming. If I hear this one more time, you will be thrown out on the streets immediately. The two maids tremble, bowing deeply in terror. Head maid, we are truly sorry. Molly waves her hand sharply. Enough. Get out of my sight. Elle remained silent, her gaze distant. Molly placed her hands on her hips, letting out a heavy sigh as she looked at the young girl. My lady, are you really going to keep enduring this in silence, though? You should have stood up to them. But I am sorry, Molly, and thank you for protecting me. Molly sat beside Elle, a hopeful smile gracing her lips. Zoning out again, you are far too young to have such heavy thoughts weighing on your mind. Molly's expression then turned serious. Lord Iverson, your father, wishes to see you. The words hung in the air like a sentence. He is waiting in the drawing room. Elle's body went rigid as ice. What father, the Duke? Molly gently took Elle's cold hand, guiding her toward the main estate. You will meet your father and the doctor. Do not forget the etiquette I taught you. Did you hear me, my lady? Elle lowered her head, hiding the terror in her eyes. What should I do? The very word father only awakened memories of blood and pain. The image of Greta II seated on his throne flashed in her mind. His voice was a blade of ice. You useless trash, drag her down and teach her a lesson. A knife dripping with crimson blood, a face twisted in sadistic glee. These nightmares haunted her waking hours. To Elle, a father was not a guardian, but a monster. My lady, Molly's voice pulled her back. They had arrived at the imposing entrance of the Grand Duke's main residence. Captain Jean of the Royal Guard stood like a statue in full plate armor, hand resting on his sword hilt. He announced with a booming voice, Lady Elle Simons and head maid Molly have arrived. With a heart heavy as lead, feeling as though she were walking toward her execution, Elle stepped into the grand hall with Molly by her side. Inside the drawing room, a bespectacled doctor rose to his feet, placing a hand over his heart. Good day to you, my lady. Elle performed a curtsy, her movements precise and elegant, yet mechanical. A man sitting on the velvet sofa slowly looked up. Duke Iverson Simons locked his gaze onto the small child before him. Is that child? Is she truly my daughter? His sharp, discerning eyes seemed to pierce through her, intelligent but utterly unapproachable. So this man is my father in this life. Molly smiled, answering the unspoken question in the Duke's eyes. Yes, Your Grace, there is no doubt. She is the Grand Duke's own flesh and blood. Molly turned to the trembling girl. Come, my lady. Greet your father. Stay calm, just bow as we practiced. Elle clutched the hem of her dress, her small frame shaking like a leaf in a storm. She prepared to bow again, but Iverson's deep voice cut through the air. Wait. Elle flinched, snapping her head up to meet his gaze. Iverson's tone was calm, yet terrifying to her ears. We finally meet after all this time. Is that all you intend to do? Just a simple greeting. Elle's blood ran cold. The shadow of Iverson seemed to morph into the gigantic, looming nightmare of Greta II. In her hallucination, the tyrant looked down at her with pure disgust. Look at you, filthy rat. Do you not even know how to show proper respect? Who taught you such garbage? He stomped his foot, the ground shaking. Do you think you are worthy to stand on the same level as the princes and princesses? Do not think that surviving one battle makes you anything special. The malice in his voice was suffocating. The phantom of Greta II kicked Elle down, stomping on her head, forcing her face into the dirt. Kneel, lower that worthless head of yours. His face twisted into a demonic snarl. Your head, your body, they are not worth a single copper coin. If you defy me, I will punish everyone connected to you. Live your whole life beneath my feet. If you do not, I will slaughter your mother and every soldier here. Elle trembled violently, fists clenched white. The horror of her past life crashed over her like a tidal wave. My lady, Molly realized something was terribly wrong. Lady Elle, what is the matter? Her voice was gentle, but urgent. You just need to bow, my lady. But Elle's legs had turned to jelly. I cannot let others be hurt because of me. She froze, paralyzed by trauma. Wait, no, he is angry. I have made him angry. Iverson's face was obscured by shadows, his expression unreadable. He opened his mouth slowly. To Elle, it felt like the abyss was swallowing her whole. The helplessness of her past life consumed her. I am going to be beaten again. Iverson's hand reached out toward her. Elle squeezed her eyes shut in terror, her body tense, waiting for the inevitable blow. But the pain never came. Instead, the world shifted. Iverson had lifted her high into the air. Elle's eyes flew open in shock. She was safe in his arms. He picked me up. What is he doing? Iverson looked down at her, a pained, apologetic smile on his lips. Forgive me. I have not communicated with you properly. He held her close, his voice a low rumble of warmth. You looked so far away standing over there. I thought we needed a friendlier atmosphere. Come now, look at me. Why not try calling me Dad, or perhaps Father? Iverson gazed at her with soft eyes. I do not mean to force you, of course. Which one do you prefer? Elle stared up at him, bewildered. Why does he look so sad? It was as if Iverson could hear her silent questions. Yes, exactly like that. If you want to be closer, how about a hug? He gently placed Elle down on the sofa, but perhaps that is too much for now. I will not push you. Elle stared at Iverson. He's reading my mind. Why is he suddenly being so gentle? Is this a trick? Iverson rested his chin on his hand. You are doubting me right now, aren't you? Is it so strange for me to be nice to you? He read it again. Iverson sighed dramatically. Being suspected by my own daughter breaks my heart. So please, comfort me. Just call me dear father once. That is all I ask. Elle sat on the sofa, lowering her eyes. Even if I see through his lies, I cannot speak. Neither in my heart nor with my voice. Iverson leaned in closer. Do not look so gloomy. We all understand the situation. His large hand gently cupped her small cheek. Elle's eyes widened in surprise at the warmth. Beside them, Molly smiled warmly. I have heard everything from Molly. The doctor pushed up his glasses. I will explain the details shortly, Your Grace. Iverson's voice became softer than she had ever imagined possible. Just because you cannot speak, it does not mean your life is over. We will find a cure. But even if your voice never returns, it doesn't matter to me. Iverson cupped her small face, forcing her to meet his gaze. In his eyes burned a tenderness she had never witnessed in anyone before. Surviving. That is the only thing that counts. Elle's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. He wasn't lying. But if this warmth was real, why did he abandon her to rot for all those years? Iverson fell silent for a moment, then stood up. Let's change the mood. How about a walk? He continued as she trailed behind him. You like the view from the observatory, don't you? Let us go there. The observatory pierced the clouds, overlooking the vast, endless forest. Iverson leaned against the railing while Elle stood by his side. The scenery isn't bad, he murmured. I can see why you like this place. Suddenly, a question hung in the air. What was his real game? Iverson bent down to her level. Tell me, which part of this kingdom calls to you? He pointed into the distance. Is it the forest, or perhaps? He shifted his finger. The mountain range over there. Actually, it was neither. She didn't know why. But after her rebirth, her vision had become godlike. Pitch black night or miles of distance, it made no difference. She saw everything with terrifying clarity. That was the real reason she came here to watch the city below. Specifically, a display window in a toy shop. There sat a teddy bear, missing an eye, sold at a discount. That bear was once the crown jewel of the shop, designed by a master craftsman from the Asura Duchy itself. Its eyes were magnificent, crafted from rare blue dragon sapphires rumored to be fossils of ancient magic dragons. A blue frost dragon was sealed deep within the gem, flickering like a mystical flame. Naturally, it drew the envy of every customer. But in the chaos of the crowd, the bear fell from its high perch, tumbling down to smash against the hard floor. One sapphire eye shattered into dust. The shopkeeper exploded in rage, but the culprit had vanished. And so, the pristine bear stayed on the high shelves, while the broken one was cast down to the discount bin. Even for a luxury item, no one wanted a piece of trash. The discounted bear lay in the corner, ignored by the world. Strange. Why did its story sound exactly like her own life? She used to pity it. But soon she realized that watching it abandoned in the freezing rain brought her a strange sense of peace. It always sat there, staring at the passers-by with arrogant pride. Its remaining eye still burned like fire, watching the sun rise and set. She never imagined that after being reborn with a shattered soul, a stuffed bear would become her spiritual anchor. It faced its freedom with such courage. She realized she was jealous of it. That is why watching it from the observatory became her sacred daily ritual. Because I cannot speak, no one understands me, no one knows what I like or why, this landscape inside my heart. Who can I even tell? Iverson's large hand gently patted Elle's head. I see. I understand now. His voice was soft as a passing breeze. You didn't come for the scenery. You came here for courage. For freedom. Elle snapped her head up, shock flooding her eyes. Impossible. How could he possibly understand asterisk? I am glad. You truly possess a heart as pure as crystal. Iverson gazed at her, his eyes crinkling with a comforting smile. He reached out his hand. Come, Elle. Iverson gently enclosed her tiny hand in his. Let us go home, one more time. Allow me to protect your courage and your freedom. Before she knew it, she was sitting in the carriage, heading back. Elle curled up in the corner of the seat. Regret was useless now. Anxiety gnawed at her. That place was called home, but her past life held no happy memories there. Even if this new family threw her away, even if they despised her, no one would care. A tiny, helpless Elle, pushed around by the world. Are you ready? Iverson's voice cut through from outside. Elle flinched. Yes, we can go. The door opened, revealing Iverson's imposing figure. He smiled. Sorry to keep you waiting. Let's move. Elle pressed herself against the window, afraid to turn her head. I know it's rude, but I'm terrified to look at his face. Iverson watched his daughter's small, trembling back. Normally, I would tell you to sit properly for safety. He settled into the seat opposite her. But this world is full of interesting things. Since it is your first time out, do as you please. Iverson closed his eyes, a faint smile playing on his lips. No matter what happens, I will protect you. He read my mind again. The carriage wheels began to turn, rolling slowly toward an unknown fate. Iverson looked at Elle with a complex expression. But in her eyes, his reflection twisted into someone else entirely. A man in armor sat there, his expression colder than ice. Vor sat beside him, handing her a box. This is a gift for you. They took cookies from the box. Then, a cold flash of steel, Vor drew his sword, slashing viciously at Arai. She threw her body to the side. The blade grazed her cheek, slicing her sleeve. Arai bit her lip, tears welling up. The traumatic past crashed over her like a tidal wave. Elle, there is something I must tell you. Elle ignored him, her gaze glued to the window. Iverson followed her line of sight. There stood the toy shop. He smiled. What are you looking at? Is there something you want? Elle lowered her head abruptly. No, there is nothing. But then she shrank back, trembling. I have to say goodbye to that bear. Memories flooded back. You devil. Who would believe you were actually the sixth princess's parrot? You devil kneel outside for 2 hours, you useless piece of trash. You are despicable. You do not deserve to live. Elle hugged herself tightly, trembling at the memory. No, it's not like that. I don't want anything. Suddenly, Duke Iverson signaled for the carriage to halt. The abrupt stop startled Elle. Before she could react, Iverson lifted her gently into his arms. Is there truly nothing you desire? His voice was as soft as silk. Or perhaps you will accompany me inside to take a look. Consider this a request from me, a plea from your father. The shop bell chimed melodiously. Welcome, valued guests. The owner bowed with enthusiasm. Oh my, it is the Grand Duke himself. We are at your service. Elle's gaze was instantly drawn to a teddy bear on the shelf. It was perfect, 2 sparkling eyes that shimmered like gems. Iverson carried Elle through the aisles as she gazed around in awe. Everything here is incredible, she thought, her heart racing. Every item screams wealth. I must not stare too long. If they think I am vulgar or greedy, I'm in big trouble. Elle, which one do you find most beautiful? Shall we pick out a gift for your mother and one for your mischievous older brother? 2. Elle's body went rigid. Why was he asking her about their preferences? How on earth would I know? She panicked internally. Iverson let out a heavy sigh. It is my fault my beloved daughter has to suffer so. Of course you wouldn't know. You have never met your mother or brother properly. He lifted her higher. Then I shall choose. Elle, wait here for just a moment. He looked at her with overflowing affection. If you get tired or bored, you may return to the carriage. Iverson turned to the owner. Shopkeeper, bring out your finest wares and call for the assistant. You should come as well. The shopkeeper bowed low. Please, follow me this way. We have some exquisite items in the back. Left all alone, Elle scurried with small steps toward a dark corner of the shop. This is my chance. I don't want to cause trouble, but we may never meet again. There, lying quietly in a glass case, was a lonely, broken bear. So I have no regrets. I must say a proper goodbye. She whispered to the glass. Hello there. You don't know me, but thank you. Thank you for always being here. Its right eye was shattered. It's left a deep, sorrowful blue stone. Ever since I was reincarnated, you were the one who protected my heart. Your fur looks so soft, even with only one eye, that fiery spirit within you. It feels so familiar to me. I finally got to see you in person, but now I have to go. She forced a smile. It's okay. I'm not lonely at all. I will never forget you. I hope your suffering ends soon. I pray that someone who truly cherishes you will come and give you the happiness you deserve. Be brave, be strong. May your smile shine forever. Goodbye. She nodded to herself. This is for the best. It was always meant to be this way. Even if my heart feels like it's being cut into pieces. Even if fate takes everything. I have no regrets. I said a proper goodbye this time. I'm okay now. Elle turned and ran back toward the counter, desperate to hide her tears before they returned. The shopkeeper's voice echoed out, Thank you immensely. We will have these delivered to the ducal estate immediately. Iverson accepted a beautifully wrapped box. Elle looked up and saw the pristine bear from earlier. It wore a hat and bow tie, its Saya brand eyes sparkling. The tag read, For my beloved child. I see. Elle thought. That beautiful toy has been bought. It must be a gift for the young master of the ducal house. How lucky. Suddenly, Iverson's voice rang out. Elle, this is for you. Iverson gently presented a large gift box. Inside sat the one-eyed bear, but its shattered eye had been replaced with a stunning, intricate mechanical lens. This belongs to you. Iverson smiled warmly. Do you like it? Elle stared at the bear, tears welling up in the corners of her eyes. But why? Iverson lowered his gaze softly. The shopkeeper told me this bear has been through much pain. It is different from the other toys. Yet, people are drawn to its courage and hidden beauty. That is why it was kept in that corner for so long, waiting for the right person. Earlier, I saw you praying for this bear. I realized then that your eyes are truly sharp. Iverson placed the bear into Elle's arms. I entrusted to the one who recognized its bravery. You two shall be together forever, Simon Stus. Will you protect this brave bear well? Will you become its safe harbor? Elle clutched the bear, nodding furiously as tears streamed down her face like rain. Yes. She hugged the toy tightly, The fur was softer than she imagined. She buried her face in it. Thank you, gods, thank you, Father, for letting this abandoned child in me. Two souls discarded by the world finally found each other. Emotion surged in her chest like a tidal wave. Can I really have happiness like this? Iverson smiled with satisfaction. I'm glad you like it, though it did cost me 3,005 gold. What? Elle was so shocked she froze. Her mind began rapidly calculating. A normal one is 15,000 to... Wait. This one should be 70% off. Elle squeezed the bear. Don't tell me he got scammed. Iverson looked at her, puzzled. Did I say something wrong? Elle snapped out of her financial panic. Iverson looked at his daughter with deep adoration. In my eyes, what my beloved daughter desires cannot be measured by money. Whatever you want, I will give you the world, because I love you. He lowered his voice, his gaze becoming steely and determined. Elle, we will never throw you away. Since we met, you haven't asked a single question, but your heart is filled with doubts. Isn't it? Why did you grow up in the annex? Why did we never visit, and why bring you back so suddenly? Iverson's eyes softened again. I cannot tell you the details just yet, but please, trust me. I do not take this matter lightly. Wait until we return home. Once the time is right, I will explain everything myself, but until then, upon this bear, I swear it, can you grant us even a sliver of trust? The shadows of the past still lingered, even with his vows. The memory of my agonizing death remained burned into my soul. Trust was a luxury I couldn't fully afford yet. And yet, perhaps just this once, I could gamble on the heart of a father who truly cherishes his daughter. Hello, Sir Bear. I finally have a friend. I want to play this role perfectly, to truly understand what it feels like to be a cherished child. Though, did he really have to spend over 3 million gold on a plushie and one with a missing eye? At that, talk about a ripoff. It was as if Iverson could hear her very thoughts. Is my precious daughter worrying about my wallet? Such a sensible child, but fear not, this investment was far from a loss. In fact, our harvest was bountiful. Elle blinked, confusion written all over her face. Harvest. Iverson pointed toward a pristine box containing a flawless bear. Precisely. While I was focused on your gift, they tried to upsell me an entire carriage of toys. They sought to exploit a father's love to inflate their prices. That is when head maid Molly stepped in. She obliterated that clerk verbally. I wish you could have seen her intensity. Citing tax codes, commercial law, and business ethics with her oversight, that shop will soon be the finest in the empire. The world of adults is truly terrifying. Iverson pressed a finger to his lips. Now, promise me one thing. When we arrive, do not tell your brother this bear was a gift. All right. The carriage rumbled down the tree-lined path of the main estate. Is it true? Has Lord Iverson returned with the child? A knight in full armor bowed low. Yes, my lady. I bring news from the Duke. They will be here momentarily. Finally, I shall meet her at last. The Duchess Wren turned, sunlight bathing her silhouette in a golden glow. We must prepare a welcome banquet worthy of royalty. I wish to prepare her room myself. Her words were cut short by a violent coughing fit. Her body swayed dangerously as maids rushed to catch her. Your Highness. Wren collapsed to the floor, her body racked with spasms. A streak of crimson blood stained her pale lips. I am fine. She slumped to the floor, waving them off weakly. Shadows loomed over her. Cancel the preparations. When they arrive, I must stay away. Far away from that child. She clutched a scorched photograph to her chest, hiding it from view. Meanwhile, the carriage rattled as it crossed the valley. And so, the little rabbit met the dog, and the cat, and the leopard, together with the leaf spirit, and they journeyed to the shell lake deep within the forest. Iverson's voice was soft as he read to Elle, and they lived happily and freely ever after. He gently closed the book. Did you choose this one because you liked the plot, Father? Elle tilted her head. No. She squeezed the bear tighter. The story's fine, but far too childish for me. I just didn't want him to think I was boring. He was so insistent on playing. In my past life, I knew only war. I know nothing of leisure. He looked so excited. I couldn't bear to crush that joy, so I just grabbed the first book I saw. I intended to read it silently, yet he began reading aloud for me. His voice. It was overflowing with affection. It was surprisingly soothing. Has someone read to me like this before? A fragmented memory surfaced, a golden-haired woman holding a silver-haired child on a sunlit lawn, a fleeting, beautiful shard of the past. That is why I cannot reject him now. But if he asks if I like the story, how should I answer? Knock, knock. A servant's voice broke the silence. Lord Duke, young miss, apologies for the interruption, but we are approaching the estate. Iverson glanced down at Elle. It seems our journey is at an end. We shall finish the story another time. Elle hugged her bear and nodded vigorously. Iverson closed his eyes, a contented smile gracing his lips. The carriage passed through the gates of a majestic manor. Upon stopping, Iverson stepped out, carrying Elle securely in his arms. Servants and guards lined the path. Welcome home, Your Grace. Yet, Elle sensed a shift in the air. Something felt wrong. The atmosphere within the duchy was heavy, almost suffocating. The expressions on the servants' faces were far from celebratory. A maid whispered frantically, "Has the news not reached the Duke yet?" Another muttered, "What of the banquet preparations?" The Duchess has fallen ill and is resting. A bespectacled woman stepped forward with authority. "I am Tina, the head housekeeper of the Grand Duchy. Due to her Grace's sudden illness, the welcome banquet has been postponed." And Tina turned her sharp gaze to Elle. "Furthermore, the Duchess requests that the Duke attends to urgent state affairs immediately. She also demands headmaid Molly's presence in her chambers at once." Oh, Molly's face fell, concern etching her features. "Is the situation truly that critical?" She bowed to Elle. "I must depart for a moment. Young miss, I shall return shortly. With the Duke by your side, you have nothing to fear." Elle peeked out from Iverson's embrace, her eyes trembling with unease. Molly offered a reassuring smile. Elle gazed after the retreating figure, her heart heavy with disappointment. Iverson pulled her close, his voice a soothing balm. "If you visit her even while she is ill, I am certain it would bring her great joy." "Shall we go to your mother right now?" But before they could take a step, Tina bowed low, blocking their path. "Your Grace, I must beg your pardon. By the order of the Grand Duchess, the young miss must return to her room immediately, until the Grand Duke summons her. Do not bring her to offer greetings." Elle burrowed deep into Iverson's embrace. "I knew it. My instincts were never wrong. Mother hates me. Everyone in this castle despises me." Iverson's grip tightened around her. "Elle, do not fear. They are simply worried about your mother." He gazed deep into her eyes, his expression earnest. "Your mother loves you dearly. She is simply unwell today. Now, let us go to your new room." He forced a gentle smile to comfort her. "When she recovers, we will visit her together. All right." Was that the truth? Even if it was a lie, she had no choice but to accept it. Iverson hugged her close. "Thank you for understanding, Elle. So, you agree?" Suddenly, Iverson's body convulsed violently. He clutched his chest, a groan of pure agony escaping his lips. Elle looked up in terror. "Father!" A terrifying surge of emerald mana erupted from Iverson's body. Elle stared in shock. What is happening? His mana was spiraling out of control sharp. Thorny vines burst from the ground beneath Iverson, engulfing him in an instant. Tina rushed forward, shielding Elle's eyes from the horror. "Tina, get Elle out of here now." "Yes, Your Grace." Tina scooped Elle up and fled the scene. That man. He handed her over to a stranger without a second thought. Am I being thrown away, abandoned? Once again. Behind them. Iverson collapsed to his knees, the thorny vine swallowing him whole. The suppressant has worn off. Is his mana destabilizing again? Jay drew his blade, slicing through the encroaching thorns with a swift strike. "Duke, are you all right?" Jay helped him rise from the debris. "I am used to this, but I cannot be near the child for now." Iverson walked into the shadows, his silhouette radiating loneliness. "Even if I am alone, I believe she will be safe." Tina carried Elle, trailed by two silent maids. "Young miss, we have arrived." Her voice was as cold as ice. "Per the Grand Duchess's orders, everything is prepared. This room is quiet and completely isolated from the noise of the main estate. You will reside here from now on. Your belongings will follow shortly." Tina's expression remained devoid of emotion. "If you require anything, inform the maid stationed at the door. I shall take my leave." Elle stood alone as they left. Her heart sank. The heavy door slammed shut, sealing her inside the vast, empty void. Her shadow looked so small on the floor, whether in her past life or this one. Nothing had changed. No matter how hard I try, or if I trade my life for glory. Once the war ends, I am just a prisoner again, watched, controlled, forever alone. The memory of Creta II haunted her. His mockery echoed in her mind. I told you, no one will ever love a monster like you. They all despise you. No, that is not true. A different voice pierced the darkness. Fleur, I will go ahead. Munda, don't go, Ari. Stop, is that... Ari. Why did the earth tremble? The moonlight guided them, and mysterious gems wove an ancient spell. It felt so warm, so peaceful. My child, you carry the goddess's blessing. May fortune walk beside you. Do not fear. On the path of dreams, I will hold your hand. She wasn't alone anymore. She was starting to remember. She recalled the fleeting happiness she once knew. She had saved them all. Please, don't disappear this time. Goodbye. Ari. A man's face flashed before her vision. Don't go, please. Wait. Figures faded into the mist as the hand reached out into the void. Why did you betray me? Why did you all leave me? Elle sobbed softly in her sleep, haunted by ghosts of the past. Don't leave me behind. I don't want this. Morning sunlight pierced the curtains, gently caressing the bed. Elle woke with a start, her eyes slowly finding peace. She rubbed her sleepy eyes. Last night, she had heard a familiar melody. It was the lullaby they used to sing to her in her previous life. Even when she was a prisoner in the enemy camp, those memories were her only comfort. Elle pulled the blanket over her head, peeking out like a frightened animal. A woman's voice drifted from the hallway. Young miss, are you awake? Molly pushed the door open. Dressed in a pristine uniform, she bowed elegantly. Forgive my tardiness. I was detained by a trivial matter. Seeing the girl's state, Molly asked gently, Is something wrong, little miss? Suddenly, Elle bolted from the bed. She launched herself into Molly's arms, clinging to her like a lifeline. Have you been holding all this fear inside? I'm so sorry for leaving you in this strange place alone. I promise, I will never abandon you. She held the little girl close. You are safe now. Meanwhile, outside the door, Jen stood silently in a luxurious yellow gown. Witnessing the tender moment, Jen covered her mouth to stifle a sob. She fought back tears and turned away, leaving in silence. Molly knew Jen had been watching, but she could do nothing. She turned her attention to Elle. All right then. She knelt to tie Elle's shoelaces, checking the fit with practiced care. Elle lifted her foot, taking a tentative, tiny step. Molly beamed at the reflection in the mirror. Oh, you look absolutely adorable. The Grand Duke has excellent taste. Elle sat obediently in her pale blue dress, a picture of fragile beauty. Molly flashed a gentle smile. I am entirely at your service today. Is there anything you wish to do? How about a stroll in the garden? Molly suggested softly. You would look absolutely adorable bathing in the sunlight. Elle hopped off the sofa and dashed toward the door, but she froze. Turning to the shelf, she yanked out a thick, tattered book instead. Pages fluttered in her small hands as she held the heavy tome high. Molly blinked in surprise. Reading again. You have just arrived, and the weather is divine. Molly coaxed. Why don't we explore the grounds a little? Elle lowered her gaze. I don't want to go out. Everyone hates me. If anyone said mean things, Molly would be heartbroken too. Molly saw right through her hesitation. Do you really not want to go out? What a pity. Molly tapped her chin and thought, Little Fourth, do you like chamomile flowers? I was planning to take you to a magnificent field of them. Elle's eyes instantly lit up. A field of chamomile, Molly winked playfully. A vast, special garden found only here at the Duke Simon Stus estate. They walked down a country path surrounded by endless green, but after a long march, there was still no sign of flowers. Is she tricking me? Molly crouched down. Is she going to scold me with that look? I told you it was far, didn't I? Elle hung her head. Suddenly, two maids approached. Greetings, young miss. Head maid. Molly straightened her posture immediately. Elle quickly hid behind her. The maids bowed respectfully. Good afternoon. Molly turned back. Let's take a shortcut. Molly scooped Elle into her arms. Elle looked confused. Then, beneath Molly's feet, a brilliant blue magic circle ignited. I forgot Molly can use magic light engulf them both. In a flash, they landed amidst a sea of petals. We have arrived. Elle held her breath. Before her lay an endless ocean of chamomile under the sun, guarded by a colossal tree in the distance. They ventured deeper into the flowers, following a winding path that cut through the gold and white. Molly and Elle sat amidst the blooms, bathed in warm sunlight. So beautiful. The scent was nostalgic, reminding her of Sister Munda, and the memory of a man shyly giving a chamomile flower to Arai in her past life surfaced like a dream. Elle sighed, lost in deep thought. Molly watched her closely. You have carried a heavy heart since returning to the mansion. Why don't we pray to the Forest Lord? Lord Cana, I believe he will surely help you. Molly pointed ahead. This way. Her voice was soft. That is the statue of the Forest Lord Cana. He grants any wish. According to the history of Maston, the creator goddess Tia exhausted her power, creating the world, and fell into a slumber. By her will, the continent was divided into earth, forest, canyon, sea, and glaciers. Except for the frozen lands in eternal darkness, the regions are ruled by 4 knights and 4 mages. One was the Light of Hope, Canonison. He received a divine oracle and became the Forest Lord alongside the Forest Goddess. They say he saves the suffering, but I know I won't be saved. I am a being cursed by the gods. My wish is... Elle clasped her hands and closed her eyes. Oh, Goddess of the Forest, I have a humble request. I hope the father who loves his children, the others in this forest, and the mother weakened by giving birth to me, I hope they recover soon and find true happiness. I don't want anyone to be unhappy because of me. Let those who love them be blessed. Elle wiped a tear from the corner of her eye. Suddenly, a large, warm hand gently patted her head. The goddess has heard your wish. Elle spun around, startled. You really can't let your guard down here. Iverson placed a hand on his chest. I am sorry. It is my fault for worrying you. I have no excuses. I am truly sorry. I broke our promise. I said we would see your new room and visit your mother together. Forgive me. Elle puffed out her cheeks. If you were going to apologize, you shouldn't have disappeared in the first place. Iverson explained. When I went to pick you up, I took a lot of medicine. I thought I would be fine, Mo, but an old injury makes controlling my mana difficult. But the journey home with you was so joyful, I forgot my next dose. The moment we arrived, my body collapsed. When my mana goes out of control, I look terrifying. I handed you to the servants so I wouldn't scare you. I failed to explain, and I made you sad. Iverson bowed his head. Please forgive me. So that was it. Mana rampages are incredibly painful, so this father was also... Iverson smiled weakly. After a night of rest, I am much better. Do not worry, the gods protect me too. Besides, you just prayed to Lord Cana for us. It's good to see him, but I'm still confused. Elle touched a chamomile petal. Iverson spoke up. Don't make that face. From now on, you can be as selfish as you want. He patted her head. Molly has prepared tea and cake at the cabin over there. Shall we go? Elle stood up and ran toward the wooden house. Iverson followed close behind. They walked side by side through the sea of flowers, climbing the hill toward the cabin where Molly bowed. Tea was served. Sunlight flooded the glass conservatory, illuminating a table laden with exquisite pastries. Iverson smiled warmly, his eyes crinkling. We have all the time in the world. What does my little girl desire? Is there anything you wish to do? What to do? Io thought. What is he planning? Reading. Iverson cut her off instantly. Absolutely not. He began to list alternatives rapidly. Horseback riding, chess, building blocks, fishing, painting, singing. The options are endless. Pick 2, he insisted. My heart screams for books. But looking at his eager face, I cannot refuse him. Iverson noted her hesitation. You look conflicted. Let us leave it to fate. We shall ask the forest spirit. Io's eyes widened. A chamomile blossom erupted in emerald light before its petals bled into a vibrant orange. Iverson flashed a victory sign. Orange, it is decided. Today, we play with dolls and go fishing. Io froze, her teacup halfway to her lips. But I seriously just want to read. Do I really have to play? Iverson raised a finger, sensing her disappointment. If we have time after, I will grant you access to the Grand Duke's library. It is the finest collection in the Empire. Io's aura instantly brightened. Iverson clasped his hands together. Since you chose dolls, we shall hold a grand tea party, he shouted to the garden. Is everyone ready? A thunderous roar echoed from the lawn. Ready? Your Grace. Maids clutched teddy bears while knights stood at attention, holding drawing boards like shields. Io flinched. Aren't these the terrified servants and intimidating guards from yesterday? Why are they gathered like this? Iverson knelt on one knee, his gaze tender. Do not be afraid. We thought long and hard about how to properly welcome you. This is our heart, laid bare for you. Iverson took the strings of the marionettes and began the tale. This is a story from long ago. Peace reigned until one day the Demon King descended, hungry for souls. The Demon King puppet spread its claws and roared, "Fools fall into eternal darkness and become my slaves." To save her people, the rabbit princess stood alone against the darkness, but the shadows were too deep, and she was swallowed whole. The Demon King whispered a cruel curse. "You are my slave now. Your friends have betrayed you. No one is coming to save you." The rabbit princess knew it was a lie, yet the darkness was a cage she could not break. Io clutched her teddy bear, her chest tightening. This story, it feels like suffocation. However, the princess had sown seeds of courage in the hearts of her three friends. Those seeds bloomed. The three friends vowed to fight for the princess, but to win, they first needed to forge their bodies. They sought the strongest warrior in the mountains, the Bear Knight. As one, the maids and knights fell to their knees in the grass. "Lord Bear Knight, grant us courage, grant us power. We must save the princess." Molly stepped forward, handing a stuffed cat to Io. "My lady, you must join the quest too." "Me? What am I supposed to do?" Iverson hugged a massive bear, deepening his voice. "Friends of the forest, I feel your burning resolve. I grant you my strength. Go forth with my blessing and shatter the darkness." The three puppets charged, weapons raised high. Io watched, wide-eyed. How would this end? With a final strike, the friends vanquished the Demon King and pulled the princess from the abyss. The Demon King's shadow dissolved into mist. Impossible. Such power. I am defeated. The darkness vanished, and the friends lived happily ever after with the rabbit princess. Iverson and the servants formed a line, beaming at Io. Iverson hugged the rabbit doll. "Welcome home, Io." She squeezed her bear. "Is this a dream?" Yesterday, their eyes held fear and coldness. Today, the air itself feels warm. Iverson looked at her with overflowing affection. "We spent so long preparing this yesterday. Your mother was unwell, and I could not attend to you properly." Tina stepped forward, adjusting her glasses. "I have served as the head housekeeper since your grandfather's time. I prepared everything for your return, but the Duke fell ill suddenly yesterday. We separated you only to protect you from seeing him in that state. I was merely following orders to ensure his safety, and the Duke and Molly told us of your kindness. Please, let me be clear, we adore you. It is impossible for us to hate you. Please believe us." The servants bowed in unison, their voices sincere. "Please accept our hearts." Io hugged the bear tighter. "Thank you. I understand now. Trust is still terrifying, but I want to cherish this warmth." She buried her face in the plush fur. Molly approached softly. "My lord, the fishing preparations are complete." Iverson's mood skyrocketed. He scooped Io up in one arm. "Excellent, to the lake we go." As Iverson carried her across the emerald lawn, the servants trailed behind. Io looked back. Beneath the ancient tree stood a silhouette. A woman with golden hair. "That is mother." Jay stepped forward. "Lady Io, here are the rods. One is never enough." The knights formed a line, presenting a weapon rack of fishing poles. "We have prepared every conceivable type of rod and bait. Please, choose your weapon." Molly arrived with a silver tray. "Hydration is key for outdoor activities." Maids swarmed with drinks and pastries. "We baked these ourselves. Please, eat to your heart's content." Tina pushed up her glasses, hiding a smile. The preparations were meticulous, categorized with military precision: fishing rods, tanks of various sizes, water buckets, and a roaring campfire ready for the grill. Everything was perfect. One could even keep the catch as a cherished pet if they wished. The head chef stood ready with a spatula, looking like a general preparing for war. Elle stared at the sheer scale of the operation, her head spinning. She wished she could transform into a fish right then and vanish into the river depths. Iverson smiled warmly. The devotion of the entire household was palpable. Their hearts poured into this single moment for her sake. "My thanks to you all. Everyone but Molly may withdraw." The knights and servants bowed with disciplined synchronization. "As you wish, Your Grace. Call upon us at any moment." "Thank you," Elle whispered, her voice barely audible. She sank into the chair, her body and soul heavy, drained by the sheer intensity of their kindness. In her past life, she had commanded armies on blood-soaked battlefields, yet she had never faced a crowd like this. Their overwhelming enthusiasm felt suffocating. tightening around her throat like a noose. Gazing at her reflection in the rippling water, a dark thought surfaced. She wanted to dive in, to sink into the cold silence where she could finally be alone. Iverson approached from behind, his large hands gently guiding hers. Here, hold the rod like this. Now, cast it out. Elle jolted, the haze clearing. Ah, right, they were fishing. She gripped the rod, her eyes void of life. Iverson noticed the darkness in her gaze immediately. Elle, do you dislike fishing? She looked up, her expression hollow. No. It is the fish I despise. Her comrade from the past had loved them, but the creatures themselves were not to blame. It was the memories attached to them. Not a single one was happy. They were all stained with misery. The image of Arai, her past self, flashed before her eyes, wearing nothing but thin rags, standing barefoot in the freezing ocean, shivering as the cold bit into her bones. The overseer's voice cracked like a whip. The king demands a catch. Move. Cruel laughter followed as boots smashed into the basket she had slaved to fill. No real food for filth like you, they sneered, their faces twisted with malice. If you are starving, eat the rotten ones. Arai had collapsed on the burning sand, utterly broken. That was the root of her hatred. Iverson's voice cut through the dark memory. I love fishing. I used to go often with your mother in the old days. He chuckled, lost in nostalgia. However, Genevieve's sword instincts would take over. Why won't they bite? She would roar. I am going in after them. I had to physically restrain her. Calm down, Jen, but amidst that chaos, I fell for her. Elle blinked, utterly at a loss for words. Iverson returned to the present, his tone shifting. Life brings hardships and boredom, yes. But the world remains vast, filled with hidden miracles. Then, what I mean is, even the mundane becomes an adventure when faced with those you cherish. He looked at her, his eyes searching for a connection. Do you understand? Elle gripped the rod, eyes still empty. I used to think that too. Suddenly, a fish breached the water's surface. The splash triggered a nightmare. A memory of carnage. Arai and her squad, sucked into a whirlpool by a colossal fish monster. The ocean turned to a sea of flames as Arai fell into the abyss. She had lost everything that day. The phantom pain of those years stabbed at her heart. Her hands clenched her dress until her knuckles turned white. Enough. She needed to leave. She could not bear to be near anyone. Elle turned to flee, but Iverson stood, catching her arm firmly. Where are you going? Elle struggled violently against his grip. Stop. Let me go. Iverson stared into her eyes, reading the turmoil. Are you angry with me? Elle froze. Do I look angry? Why can't I ever hide it? She lowered her head, bracing herself. I must apologize. Punishment will surely follow. Suddenly, Iverson burst into laughter. Elle, you know how to get angry. This is wonderful. He swept her up into a crushing hug, beaming with delight. His mood shifted instantly. What is this trick? Is he planning an even worse punishment? If you hate fishing, we shall stop, Iverson said gently. To the library, then Molly followed close behind, a silent guardian determined to protect the child from future scars. I declare this now, Iverson announced, his voice carrying weight. You may follow your heart. Whatever you think, whatever you do, it is your freedom. Choosing not to do what you dislike, that is also your freedom. His gaze was unwavering, an anchor in her emotional storm. I have watched you closely. You always hold back, suppressing yourself. Elle's head bowed, eyes stinging with unshed tears. Seeing you show real emotion, it brings me such joy. A huge step forward on your very first day. He spun her around in the air. Ah, I am truly happy. He cleared his throat and set her down gently. Apologies. Elle stared at him. This father of mine. Surely he needs medication. High above, hidden behind the trunk of a tree, Genevieve watched them from the shadows. Elle whipped her head around. Strange. That gaze again. She stood alone on the grass, senses heightened. I felt it at the wooden cottage too. No malice. Yet, being watched from the dark creates a primal unease. Neither of them noticed. But this is the Duke's estate. Surely, it is safe. Elle sighed, pushing the fear down, and ran after Iverson. On the second floor, the library doors opened. Iverson and Molly watched as Elle gasped. Whoa, she dove into the sea of books. Big Sister Munda taught me to read and write. Elle descended the stairs, Iverson trailing behind. The scale of the collection was breathtaking. a treasure trove beyond imagination. She taught me that books hold houses made of gold. Elle caressed a thick tome, but she died before I could finish learning. After that, reading became a weapon, a desperate struggle to gather intelligence on the enemy. I never had time. I could only steal moments of silence. Simply touching these pages felt more precious to her than any jewel in the kingdom. Great thoughts lay dormant here. It felt like floating on a river of knowledge, drifting on clouds of pure bliss. Iverson smiled at her awe. You seem to like it here. Come whenever you wish. Just do not fall asleep among the piles, or you will catch a cold. Elle snapped out of her trance. He turned to leave. Take your time. I will order snacks. He paused, his tone serious. This library is restricted. Without my permission, not even Molly may enter. Clutching the tome to her chest, Elle watches Iverson disappear around the corner. She bides her time. Once he is gone, the real investigation begins. Her violet eyes scan the shelves. While she appreciates a good story, she is not here for fairy tales. There is knowledge. She desperately needs knowledge that could save her life. She gazes up at the towering bookcases. Reincarnation. Blood curses. She needs to know if that dark magic has followed her to this new life, and why fate cast her into the heart of the enemy nation. Her small fingers trace the wood. Strange. A library this magnificent, yet those specific topics are missing. Perhaps they are hidden on the highest shelves, out of reach. With grit, she begins the perilous climb. Her breath comes in ragged gasps. Suddenly, her foot slips, gravity claims her, but before she hits the ground, a pair of strong, steady arms snatches her from the air. Iverson holds his daughter tight, his heart pounding. That was too close, if I had been a second later. There is no anger in his voice, only relief. I forgot to ask what you wanted for dinner. Were you reaching for that novel? Iverson glances at the cover in her hand. This story might be a bit too mature for you right now. My little one, let us save it for when you are older. A gentle smile graces his lips. But if you were looking for records on reincarnation or blood curses, you will not find them here. The Empire confiscated and incinerated every last page on those subjects long ago. Iverson's voice drops, heavy with the weight of the past. 3 years ago, while your mother carried you, Imperial soldiers raided every ducal library. Flames consumed mountains of knowledge, history, magic, curses all turned to ash. But their cruelty did not end with books. They launched a ruthless hunt for every baby girl born that year. Flashbacks of terror flood his mind. Soldiers with arrows drawn against helpless women. They sent envoys even as mothers went into labor, waiting like vultures. A soldier snatched a crying infant. An envoy assaulted your mother, forcing her into premature labor. They only cared about one thing, the child's gender. If it was a girl, she was taken instantly. At that critical moment, the main forces of the duchy were far away, fighting alongside the Duke of the Canyon to repel monsters in the frozen plains. With your mother's traumatic birth, our remaining defenses were shattered. Iverson grips the hand of his wife, bedridden and weak. I lost control of my mana in the chaos. To save you. We lied to the world. We announced that a son had been born. A maid hurries away with the bundle. We had no choice but to hide your existence completely. Iverson looks down at Elle, eyes glistening with unshed tears. For more than 2 years, my heart has burned with fear every single day. Under the Empire's watchful eye, I could only send supplies in secret. I would pay any price to keep you hidden, to stop them from taking you away. Elle lowers her head, the realization hitting her like a physical blow. The missing girls, they were hunting her, a terrifying curse that defies death itself. The image of Creta II looming over a chained prisoner flashes in her mind. Even in rebirth, do I still carry the imperial bloodline of CO asterisk? Impossible. I cannot have that accursed blood, unless... Am I simply a harbinger of doom? Even after reincarnating, do I only bring misfortune yet? They defied the Empire to bring me home. My parents are too good for a child like me. Iverson gently lifts her chin, cutting through her dark thoughts. No, we do not suffer because of you. You are our precious, beloved daughter. You never need to worry about those things again. We will not let the duchy fall. We brought you home because we can finally protect you here. The duchy is united now, far stronger than we were 3 years ago, and we will find a cure for your mother, and for my condition, I promise. Most importantly, the only madman obsessed with capturing little girls was Emperor Creta II. But rumor has it, the tyrant is dead. El's pupils shrink in shock. The empire is tearing itself apart in a brutal war for the throne. They have no time to hunt children. The pretenders to the throne have agreed to stop the book burnings and kidnappings in exchange for the support of the dukes. Iverson's eyes burn with fierce determination. Even if they regain power, we have nothing to fear. Simon Stus and the other planetary dukes have sworn to fight the empire to the bitter end. And we will never abandon our child again. El looks up, her eyes shining like stars. That is why, the moment it was safe, I rushed to bring you home. I hated every second I spent apart from you. And Iverson pulls El into a warm embrace. Your mother wanted to tell you this herself. She wants to announce you to the entire territory, but she needs to recover first. Can you wait just a little longer? El rests her head against her father's chest, listening to his steady heartbeat. Hearing the truth stirs a storm within me. I am overjoyed to have a family that truly cares, but a shadow of sorrow lingers in my heart. That monster is finally dead. Am I truly free, or will the blood curse descend once more? If the curse returns, will I be controlled again? Will those I love be hurt? El trembles. The future is a terrifying void. But thinking back on these last 2 days, I feel I can trust him. Perhaps I should ask him about the curse directly. Iverson notices her troubled expression. You still have a mountain of questions, do you not? He places a finger gently on her lips. But I am weary today. Let us speak no more of dark things. Besides, children should not have to listen to such grim tales. He scoops El up onto his broad shoulders. Come, I will take you to Molly for dinner, and then we shall visit your mother. The rest can wait. You need to eat properly. El lets out a long, resigned sigh. Molly arrives with a tray, and soon El faces a table piled high with enough food to feed an army. Molly whispered, concern etching her features. This is your first meal since returning home, my lady. Yet, you seem so burdened. If the head chef finds out you haven't eaten... Suddenly, El shot up from her chair, startling the maid. I thought it was just my imagination, she thought, eyes narrowing. But this has gone on too long. I refuse to be a prisoner of some unseen gaze. Her small hands curled into fists. I have to catch her. With a burst of determination, she bolted from the dining hall, racing toward the garden. My lady, where are you going? Molly cried out in panic, chasing after her. You haven't finished your meal. But El ignored her, pursuing the mysterious silhouette disappearing into the greenery. She's too fast, and this child's body is too weak. El's foot snagged on a stone. Gravity took hold, pitching her forward, but instead of the hard ground, she fell into a pair of warm, gentle hands. A golden-haired woman held her steady, her voice trembling slightly. Are you all right, child? Were you hurt? Can you stand? El lifted her head, and time seemed to stop. The woman was breathtakingly beautiful. Who is she? The stranger crouched down, locking eyes with El in a moment of silent connection. Molly's frantic voice pierced the air. My lady, where are you? El stood frozen beside the golden-haired stranger, her heart pounding. Molly arrived, gasping for breath. You ran so fast. What if you had been injured? El turned back to where the woman had stood, but only empty air remained. What is it? Molly followed her gaze. Is someone there? El scanned the garden, but not a soul was in sight. A wave of disappointment washed over her. She got away again. She didn't feel like an enemy, El mused, staring at her own hands. I don't think I'm in danger. Molly gently took her small hand, breaking her trance. Dinner's still waiting, my lady. Let us return inside. Shall I have the kitchen warm it up for you? As El led Molly away, the blonde woman stepped out from behind a massive oak. Tears shimmered in her eyes as she watched the retreating figure. Finally. I've seen her. Later. Molly stood by the bedside. Ring the bell if you need anything at all. Sweet dreams, my lady. Alone at last, El sank into the pillows. What a chaotic day. Molly tucked the blankets around her charge, her expression darkening. That blood curse still worries me. I need to find time to investigate it properly. El closed her eyes, and reality shifted. The howling of a blizzard replaced the silence. A solitary mansion stood against the white void. Is this a memory? Was that woman my mother? The scene twisted. A silver-haired woman screamed into the storm. On the ground, a small child curled into a ball, trembling. Please, the child begged, voice breaking. Don't hit me. It hurts so much. The woman snatched the child up by the collar, eyes manic, Hurry up, drink every last drop. She forced a vial of dark liquid down the child's throat. Swallow it if you want peace, you pathetic thing. Why did you have to be born as my daughter? It was a poison masquerading as a cure, a failed magical elixir brewed by a mother's madness. The little girl collapsed into the snow, her body a map of bruises, her throat burned like magma, and her mana core felt ready to detonate. Mother, save me. Elle gasped, jolting awake, cold sweat clinging to her skin. A shadow loomed by the window. It was her, the beautiful woman from the garden. The woman, Jen, recoiled in surprise, stumbling back until she hit the floor. The door burst open. "My lady!" Molly cried, rushing in. "What is the matter?" Molly froze. There, lying on the floor, covering her face, was the Duchess. The golden dragon insignia on her shoulder caught the moonlight, the undeniable crest of House Simon Stus. Moonlight bathed the majestic ducal estate. Elle stared wide-eyed. Is she my mother in this life? Elle clutched her teddy bear, remembering her father's words. She means no harm. But then, a maid named Tina stepped forward, voice crisp. We are under orders to let the young miss rest. Until the Grand Duke summons you formally, please refrain from disturbing her. Is it that she doesn't want to see me? Elle wondered. Or is she just frail? Yet, the woman kept staring. She even came to my room to sing me a lullaby. Her presence felt pure, almost divine, soft and clear, like the very first snow of winter. But she ran from me in the garden, and now she's here in the shadows. What does she actually want? Jen stood up, crossing her arms defensively. Elle gazed up at her. Finally, the Duchess spoke, her voice awkward. You keep staring at me. If you have something to say, speak. Silence stretched between them. Elle only hugged her bear tighter. Jen blinked, realization dawning. I forgot. You cannot speak. Can you? She tapped her chin, deep in thought. The air grew heavy. Molly and Tina stood by, rigid with tension. Tina leaned in, whispering urgently, Your Grace, please, mind your words. Jen frowned. What did I say, something strange? But Elle flinched, shrinking back into the pillows. She's terrifying, the child thought. Are all mothers monsters in the end? Jen leaned closer. Let me get a good look at you. Panic flared. Elle squeezed her eyes shut and dove under the covers. Even if she hits me, I must endure it. Just stay quiet, and the pain will pass. Jen froze, watching the small lump shivering beneath the blanket. A pang of guilt struck her. She cleared her throat loudly, turning her back to the bed. Never mind. She barked an order to Molly regarding the night's events, then signaled her attendant. Tina, we are leaving. Once the door clicked shut, Molly patted the trembling blanket. It is all right, my lady. She is gone. The Duchess. She truly means no harm. Elle peeked out, eyes wide with terror. I don't believe it. That woman is pure despair. She buried her face in Molly's apron, body quaking. I'm so scared. In the hallway, the heavy door sealed the room. Tina looked at her mistress with pity. My lady. Jen looked genuinely confused. What is it? Did I say something wrong again? I only went because she was having a nightmare. I wanted to comfort her. Jen's shoulders slumped. But instead, I terrified her. The image of the child cowering in fear burned in her mind. I really am terrible at this. Tina sighed. Please, do not blame yourself. You need rest. Suddenly, a violent fit of coughing racked Jen's body. Tina caught her just as she swayed. Jen covered her face by fighting through the dizziness and pain. I shouldn't have gone in there. It's all my fault. Your Grace, Tina cried. Jen stumbled again, wincing. She leaned heavily on her maid. It seems I twisted my ankle when I fell earlier. Lean on me. Let us take it slow. Back in the safety of her chambers, Tina knelt, gently examining the swollen ankle of the misunderstood Duchess. Iverson burst into the room, panic in his eyes. Rumor had it his wife had taken a fall. He glanced at Tina, then back to Jen, the woman who had risked severe injury in the dead of night just for a single glimpse of their beloved daughter. If word of this escapade leaked to the public, it would be a scandal that shook the heavens. Jen sat upon the bed, her face burning with a flush of pure mortification. Critical injury? Hardly, she scoffed, though her voice wavered. I merely twisted my ankle a little. Stop making a scene. Iverson's lips curled into a teasing smirk. You went to the little Miss's room, didn't you? Molly sighed, clasping her hands together. Our madam remains as impulsive and shallow as the day she was born. Jen's face turned a violent shade of crimson. Enough silence. All of you, I've been the Grand Duchess for over 20 years, yet even Tina dares to laugh at me. Iverson placed a gentle hand on his wife's trembling shoulder. I only jest, my love. But please, rest now. Do you intend to ruin my reputation along with your ankle? Molly planted her hands on her hips, her gaze sharpening. Look who is talking, ignoring the doctor's decree and sprinting about the manor. Did you think we were blind to your antics? My lord, she pressed on, her voice stern. The madame drags her ailing body through these halls, and today she has caused quite the uproar. I understand your heart aches for the young miss. Molly's expression darkened, solemnity replacing the teasing. But I beg you, try to see the world through her eyes for just a moment. Your actions only sow more worry in those around you. The maid's voice softened, dropping to a gentle whisper. I know you harbor secrets from the child, but I have witnessed the depth of your devotion with my own eyes. Believe me, I cherish the little miss just as fiercely. You have held back for so long, haven't you? That child? She is sensible to a fault. It breaks one's heart just to witness it. She is not like other children, not yet 3 years old, yet she walks on eggshells, measuring every breath, always placing others before herself. Molly's mind drifted back to the image of little Elle, a tiny, fragile silhouette standing alone against the overwhelming world. Her gaze bore into Jen. The little miss holds immense power, yet she buries her heart deep within. After her return, the Duke has been slowly prying open the doors to her soul. Molly's tone turned pleading. I understand your anxiety, but if you force your way in with such blunt desperation, she will only retreat further into her fortress of solitude. Jen hung her head, the fight draining from her. I am sorry. Tears welled up, spilling over her cheeks. This was never my intention. Sobs raked her body, helpless and raw. But what am I to do? I was once the mightiest magic swordswoman on the continent, and now I am too weak to even lift my own child. A harsh cough racked her frame. I only wanted to see her face. Just once. And look at me. Broken. Iverson's expression crumbled into shared agony. I yearned to protect her too. Jen buried her face in her hands. How can I face her looking like this? But I love her. I need to hold her, to shield her from this cruel world. I loathe this useless body. Iverson pulled Jen into a crushing embrace. I am sorry. I never meant to cause you pain. He stroked her back as she wept. It is all right. Let the tears fall. I am here. Molly approached with a steaming cup, falling to her knees. Please, madam, take care of yourself. Heal for us. Jen accepted the tea with trembling hands. You are right. I must recover with haste. No more reckless wandering. This burden is mine to bear. She squeezed her eyes shut, a vow forming on her lips. Until I am whole again, I will not disturb the child's peace. Madam, Molly began, her voice laced with worry. No. Iverson's voice cut through the air like a blade. You intend to break our vow now, to dump the weight of parenting solely on my shoulders. Did we not swear to raise her together, to give her a home overflowing with love? Jen faltered, the words dying in her throat. But Iverson lifted her chin, forcing her to meet his gaze. You cannot hide. The mistake is made. Now we fix it. That child needs us. What good will running away do, so? Jen lowered her eyes, shame burning hot. I have already failed her. Iverson pressed on, relentless. And will you commit the same sin twice? And she raised her head, fire returning to her eyes. Never. Her voice cracked. But I have wounded her heart. No matter what I do, she will never accept me now. Iverson, tell me, how do I fix this? He pulled her close, offering the only solace he could. Fear not. Tomorrow, I will go to her. I will bridge this chasm. Jen leaned into his strength. I trust you. Nearby, Tina clasped her hands in fervent prayer. O great spirit of the forest, grant our master and his heir eternal peace. Molly murmured her own plea. I only pray the winds of fortune change course, and quickly. The next morning, Iverson stepped into Elle's room, a bouquet of vibrant blooms in hand. Good morning, little one. But the room was silent. A lump under the covers revealed only the ear of a teddy bear. What is this? Iverson asked. Molly sighed heavily. The aftermath of last night's chaos, I fear. They exchanged a knowing glance. Iverson passed the flowers to the maid and marched toward the bed. Grabbing a spare green blanket, he threw it over himself, mirroring his daughter's fortress. Elle peeked out with a single wary eye, then quickly looked away. Suddenly, the mountain of blankets beside her began to tremble violently. Panic flickered in her gaze. Her tiny hand reached out, tentatively touching the shivering mass. Father, what is wrong? Iverson let out a long, dramatic sigh. It is your mother. My wife. She is, quite frankly, a complete fool. Elle's head popped up, eyes wide. Iverson seized the moment, spinning his tail. She fell so clumsily, she feels utterly pathetic and mortified. And now, even though I worry for her, she takes her embarrassment out on me. I am but a man of flesh and blood. When she speaks such harsh words, my heart shatters into pieces. He wailed dramatically. Last night, she tried to sneak a peek at you. When you caught her, she panicked and fled until she was gasping for air. Did she babble something strange to you? He threw off his cover, moving to wrap Elle in the blanket, aiming to shatter the walls around her heart. He needed her to see him as a conspirator, an ally. He bundled her up like a little burrito. How is that? Elle's face flushed pink. She shoved at him. Too hot. Go away. She scrambled out of the blanket and bolted. Iverson blinked in surprise. Elle, where are you going? Are you angry with me too? Elle glanced back, confusion written all over her face. Was this his way of comforting her? She lowered her head, voice trembling. I'm not angry, Father. I'm terrified. The moment anyone raises their voice, I feel like I should vanish, like nothing I do will ever matter. So why even try? That kind of despair cuts deeper than any blade. Iverson gazed at Elle with infinite tenderness before beginning his tale. Your mother is Jen Simon Stus, the only daughter of Ran, the legendary Grand Duke of the Wildlands. She was born with the soul of a giant and the strength of the gods themselves. The undisputed strongest magic swordsman on the Maston continent, she knew no fear, possessing a brilliance that matched her brawn. Iverson winked playfully. But because she was sheltered like a precious jewel, she grew up, well, perhaps a little arrogant. His expression softened, shadowed by memory. A warrior of steel like her would never show weakness to the world. Yet, for the past 3 years, I have watched her weep every single day. Elle listened in silence, absorbing the weight of those unseen tears. Iverson stroked her hair. She cries because she cannot hold her precious daughter, because her heart aches for you. Elle's small hands balled into fists. So, it really is my fault. Because I exist, she suffers. But Iverson smiled, shaking his head. No, my child. It is the exact opposite. Her sorrow comes from the terrifying thought that you might hate her. Can you give her a chance? Elle looked up, eyes shimmering. Thank you, Father. He pulled Elle into a warm embrace, kissing her forehead. Though, I must admit, your mother can be quite foolish sometimes. If we stay silent, her imagination will run wild, and she'll be convinced you despise her. If she drowns in that misunderstanding and isolates herself, her illness will only consume her faster. That would be a disaster, wouldn't it? Elle's eyes went wide with alarm. Iverson snapped his fingers, an idea striking him. The flower fortune this morning predicted a great day for crafting. How about we make her a small gift together? Elle pondered for a moment. Iverson chuckled. Silence implies consent, let's go. But soon, Elle sighed heavily. The table had transformed into a chaotic battlefield of scattered colored paper and scissors. Iverson surveyed the wreckage of arts and crafts. Perhaps this was a bit too ambitious for a first attempt. Elle hung her head, shadows covering her eyes. I'm too stupid. I can't even make a simple gift. I've definitely disappointed her now. Iverson burst into laughter. Not at all. This is a valuable discovery. Now we know crafting isn't your secret talent. We have a lifetime to discover your strengths and weaknesses together, one step at a time. Elle blinked, still worried. But what about the gift? Don't worry. He patted her head gently. We can buy something beautiful. It is the heart that counts, not the object. Okay, Elle whispered. But then she reached for a pen. If it's the heart that counts, there is one thing I mastered in my past life. Elle focused her spirit, the air around her shifting slightly. I'm not sure if this qualifies as a traditional gift, but it's the best I have. She handed the list to Iverson. Father, I need you to prepare these ingredients. Iverson froze. clearly blindsided by the request. He studied the complex list, eyes narrowing in thought, before smiling and ruffling her hair. I understand. Consider it done. The scene shifted to a specialized chamber, shelves lined with rare herbs and aromatics. A brass apothecary scale gleamed under the light, waiting. Tina bowed deeply. Lord Duke, young miss, the preparations are complete. She glanced at Iverson, confused. Though I do not know your intent, should I not summon the town's finest apothecary for you instead? Iverson looked down at Elle, a confident smirk playing on his lips. That won't be necessary. She can handle it. Tina's eyes widened. Oh, the young miss will perform the synthesis herself. Iverson's gaze was unshakable. Indeed, she is more than capable. Then, written on Iverson's face was absolute, unwavering trust, the pride of a father. He remembered, in her past life, Arai had brewed elixirs that could snatch souls back from death's door in the blink of an eye. Meanwhile, in the Grand Duchess's office, a suppressed, hacking cough shattered the heavy silence. Jen, despite the illness ravaging her body, remained buried in paperwork. She spoke into the shadows, her voice icy. The rats sent by the royal family. Have we identified every single spy infiltrating our territory? A figure emerged from the darkness, bowing low. Yes, my lady, they are marked. We are already in the process of silent disposal. Jen let out a breath she'd been holding. Good. Excellent work. Intelligence suggests the imperial family is tearing itself apart from the inside. The Empire's administration is in absolute chaos. They won't be able to send any high-level threats for the time being. Yet, Jen's eyes remained sharp, refusing to lower her guard. However, we cannot be complacent. Request support from the Bear Clan in the canyons. We continue the purge until every weed is pulled. She commanded the missive be sent immediately. Understood. Then Jen's voice dropped, intense and desperate. Maintain absolute surveillance. I will tolerate zero errors. Everything we do is for that child. Just then, a knock echoed through the room. It was Molly, the head maid. Lady Jen, may I have a moment of your time? Jen looked up, the steel leaving her eyes. Molly, what is it? Molly entered, beaming, a silver tray balanced in her hands. Wonderful news, my lady. The Duke and the young miss have sent you a gift. Jen shot up from her desk, stunned. What from Elle? Panic instantly replaced her composure as she scrambled to check her reflection. Her hands flew over her dress and messy hair, trying to fix the disarray. Oh, I look like a wreck. I need to be presentable. Just give me a second. Assuming her daughter was waiting outside, she called out desperately. El Mommy's right here. Molly watched her mistress's frantic flailing with a gentle smile. Madam, the young miss isn't actually here. Jen froze, her hand halting midair, the fan dangling from her fingers. She didn't come. She cleared her throat loudly, forcing the mask of the cold Duchess back into place, though the disappointment in her eyes was heartbreakingly clear. Ahem, very well. When it concerns that child, perhaps a little overreaction is only natural. Meanwhile, Jen sat on the edge of her seat, her eyes fixed on the silver tray in Molly's hands with desperate anticipation. Is it true? Did the child really send something for me? She did, my lady. Molly gently set the tray down. Resting upon it was a small vial filled with a shimmering yellow-green liquid, tied with a delicate ribbon. It was a potent medicinal draught, perfect for restoring vitality. Molly's voice swelled with pride as she declared, and it was prepared by the young miss personally. Jen froze, her eyes widening in disbelief. Oh, what did you just say? Molly continued her report. The young miss even used a knife to prepare the ingredients herself. Jen could not hide her utter shock. My daughter used a knife. I was just as surprised, my lady. Molly recalled the scene. The way the young girl handled the ingredients with the practiced ease of a master. However, Molly hesitated, a frown creasing her brow. The method she used was unlike anything I have ever seen before. If I may be so bold, perhaps we should have the physician inspect it before Molly could finish her warning. Jen snatched the vial and downed it in a single breath. My lady, Molly cried out in horror as Jen suddenly broke into a fit of coughing. Coughing violently, Jen gripped her chest. Molly rushed forward, panic in her eyes. Are you all right? Is it the medicine? Is it harmful? Jen waved her hand, catching her breath. No, the medicine itself is perfect. Jen lowered her head, her slender shoulders trembling. Crystal tears began to spill from her eyes, rolling down her pale cheeks. But this taste... Her voice broke, choked with emotion. It has been so long. It is the flavor of a distant memory, a taste of the past I thought I had lost forever. Jen raised her tear-stained face, her eyes red and desperate. Why would she make this specific medicine? Could it be? Does the child remember her past? She clenched her fists, a fierce longing surging through her veins. I need to see her. Where is she right now? But then, reason clawed her back from the edge of hope. She shook her head, denying the impossible. No, there is no way she could remember. Seeing her mistress in such pain, Molly spoke softly to distract her. The young miss is currently in the other wing, reading with his grace. Hearing those words, a silhouette from the past superimposed itself over Jen's mind, haunting and beautiful. Jen stumbled, her body swaying from the emotional toll. Molly caught her instantly. My lady, the doctor warned that stress is poison for you. I am fine, Jen insisted, straightening up. Iverson was right. Jen's eyes burned with a newfound fire. Being by that child's side is more important than my health or anything else in this world. She squeezed her hands into fists. I will not repeat the mistakes of the past, not this time. She turned to her maid, her voice commanding and regal. Molly, summon the best physician in the territory immediately, and listen well tonight. We will hold a grand welcome banquet for my daughter, and every soul in this mansion shall attend. Molly blinked in surprise. But won't Lord Iverson? Jen cut her off sharply. I will host it myself. Understood. Molly bowed deeply, accepting the order. Meanwhile, in Elle's chambers, Iverson held a thick book bound in rich brown leather. I have brought the book you wanted, he announced. The legend of the bloodline gifted by God. Elle sat on the plush rug, her eyes sparkling like stars the moment she saw the cover. She accepted it with reverence, her hands trembling slightly with excitement. This is a fascinating tome, Father. Iverson smiled warmly, sitting beside his daughter. He wagged a playful finger at her. Just promise me you will not stay up all night reading it. You will ruin your eyesight. I promise. Elle nodded obediently. At that moment, Molly stepped into the room, curtsying gracefully. Greetings, Duke, young miss. I hope you are having a pleasant day. Elle immediately abandoned her book and threw herself into Molly's arms. Seeing this, the Duke clutched his chest in feigned heartbreak. You two are so close. I think I'm actually jealous. Blushing furiously, Elle darted behind Molly, peeking out with only one eye visible. Molly chuckled at the adorable sight. Always with the jokes, Your Grace. However, I come bearing a message from the Grand Duchess. Molly's expression turned solemn and respectful. Her ladyship saw the gifts from both of you. When she learned the young miss prepared the medicine herself, she was deeply moved. Molly gazed at Elle with tender eyes. She wanted you to know that she cherished it, and she wishes to express those feelings to you directly. Therefore, the Grand Duchess has decided to host a small welcome banquet at the mansion this very evening, Molly added. It is also her way of apologizing for the trouble caused by her poor health these past days. Iverson's face clouded with concern. A banquet? Has her health improved enough for such exertion? Molly explained. The Duchess stated that the delay was precisely because of her condition, and she refuses to wait any longer. She looked from the Duke to the young girl. She begs you both to ensure your attendance. Iverson rubbed his chin thoughtfully. If she is pushing herself, tell her we can postpone it. There is no rush. This party was meant to be held the day the young miss returned, Molly insisted gently. She is preparing everything with all her heart and utmost care. Noticing Elle's silence, Molly leaned down. Young miss, are you displeased your mother only wishes for your happiness? A shadow crossed the girl's small face. Molly looked at her with concern. Is meeting the Grand Duchess still difficult for you? Elle stood frozen in the center of the vast room, her mind a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. A welcome party. Darkness seemed to creep into her thoughts, suffocating her. In other words, this was a formal dinner banquet. Ever since she was a child, she had known one truth: the glittering, noisy world of parties was a place where she did not belong. Because in her past life, with her lowly status and her mother's position, the only way they could ever enter such a dazzling hall was they were treated as nothing more than lowly servants. The invisible shadows left behind to sweep up the wreckage once the celebration had faded. Manda tracked her down and desperately implored the Emperor to let her attend the evening banquet, but the ruler remained unmoved, crushing that hope with a chilling, absolute refusal. Not only did he punish them, but he also branded them as wretched scammers. He accused them of deceiving the world, preying on pity just to steal a few coins. That accusation pushed her mother over the edge in her past life. The violence escalated, spiraling into total madness and loss of control. Eventually, that so-called mother passed away. Elle became a weapon of war, earning glorious merits. She stood at the center of the Empire's attention, under the chants of "Long live the Emperor." Yet, in that very moment of glory, the truth hit her cold and hard. To them, she was still nothing but a piece of trash to be scorned. She knew she didn't belong in this bright world, but in this new life, her father, Duke Iverson, had pulled her out of that abyss of darkness. "You have true freedom within these walls." His words echoed in her mind like a gentle melody. The freedom to refuse what you do not wish to do. For so long, she had only known endurance and silence. Could she really dare? Was it truly okay to exercise that freedom, just this once? Little Elle gathered every ounce of her courage. Her voice was small but firm. "I do not want to attend the dinner party." Iverson blinked in surprise, but his gaze quickly softened with understanding. "Is that so? You dislike parties. I respect your feelings. You have every right to stay behind." Elle lowered her head, relief washing over her. But then, a heavy sigh escaped Iverson's lips, his face clouded with a sudden dilemma. "However, your mother poured her heart and soul into preparing this for you." A familiar disappointment clawed at Elle's chest. Of course, it was all pointless. Everyone is a liar in the end. Suddenly, Iverson dropped to one knee, locking eyes with his trembling daughter. "Let us find a way where neither you nor your mother gets hurt." Molly stepped forward, a reassuring smile on her face. The Grand Duke anticipated this might happen. That is why he invited a special guest, someone the young miss trusts implicitly. Elle blinked blankly. A friend, Molly continued, "You can attend the party alongside this companion." Elle looked at Molly, eyes full of suspicion. Molly shook her head with a chuckle. "I will be by your side, of course, but the guest is not me." Elle tilted her head. Then who could it possibly be? It is none other than Sir Bear Knight. He has just been granted a noble title and a medal of honor by the Grand Duke himself. "Let us give him a grand welcome." Elle froze, her jaw dropping. We shall prepare outfits for both of you. The welcome banquet begins at sundown." Time slipped away, and the golden hues of twilight soon embraced the sky. Inside the room, Molly was busy adjusting the bow tie on a massive plush bear. Elle watched in silence. She had to admit, he looked quite dashing in formal wear. Yet, even with this silent guardian, the ice in her heart refused to melt. The thought of walking into that hall terrified her, being watched by guards, facing cold stares, and suffocating under the weight of arrogant nobility. The image of herself, small and pathetic, sitting alone on the cold floor, surrounded by strangers, just the thought squeezed her lungs. The sun was vanishing. Panic set in. What should I do? Fear consumed her. Suddenly, Molly's cheerful voice sliced through her spiraling thoughts. "Are the young miss and the knight ready? We have arrived to escort you." Molly and another maid stepped into the light. They wore their usual uniforms, but atop their heads sat adorable bear ear hoods. Elle's eyes went wide. "So cute," Molly beamed. "To ensure the grandest welcome possible, the Grand Duke has mobilized every single guard in the mansion." She gestured dramatically toward the door. "Sir Bear's personal royal guard awaits him as well." Elle blinked. A stuffed bear has bodyguards. The great door swung open. 2 rows of knights stood at attention, but instead of cold steel swords, their hands were encased in giant, fluffy bear paws. Their voices boomed in unison. "Welcome, young miss, welcome. Sir Bear, the royal knights salute you." These men, usually faces of stone and iron, were now grinning, waving their giant plush paws. "Hello, it is an honor to meet you." Elle was thunderstruck. Wow. Heat rushed to her cheeks. This was mortifying. Clutching the giant bear tightly, she stepped between the rows of knights. It wasn't scary. Not at all. A small smile of relief blossomed on her lips. "Thank you for accompanying me, Sir Bear." Standing at the end of the corridor was Iverson, a tiny bear perched on his broad shoulder, smiling gently. "Come here, my child. Allow me to carry Sir Bear for you." Together, they would face the light. The banquet hall doors parted. Warm, golden light flooded out. There stood Duchess Wren, radiant in a yellow gown, her arms wide open. "Elle, welcome home." Elle froze. She looked into her mother's eyes and saw no malice, only an overwhelming depth of sincerity. Elle gripped her dress, confusion swirling. What should she do? Wren gently knelt, enveloping her tiny, trembling daughter in a warm embrace. Her voice trembled with emotion as she whispered, "It is all right. I know. I understand everything." Ren placed a soft kiss on Elle's forehead, her eyes shimmering. "I love you, Elle." Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and leave a comment.